not only the choice of words, but the way he delivers "you sexy little swine." So ballsy, because like who would say that out loud to let alone themselves?
But is he really saying that out loud, or he's kind of talking to himself, being like he's seeing that girl on the dance floor, he wants to dance with her, he wants to take her out, he wants to maybe do some other things, but is he going to do all that, or is he just going to look and just and want and lust
and hope for the best
and hope for the best, and then he winds up going back home and playing PlayStation by himself or with someone out in the world somewhere, until the next time,
like that. But
not that I'm not speaking from experience, I'm just Hey everyone, welcome to another episode. Come on in, everyone, just gather around to Into the Music. All right, crowd around. Into the Music with Greg and that guy who's Andy. Andy is one of my, and I don't say guest appears anymore. He is absolutely, he's the guest that never leaves. He just has basically settled down, He's put his stuff there.
Sleeping on Greg's couch for a couple weeks.
That's well, there's some laws also. There's some states, whatever, that actually will say that after a person stayed in a house, whatever, for a certain amount of time.
Squatters' rights.
You can't kick them out. Yeah. So I tried. I've actually looked into it, so we're trying to make the best situation. I have a bad one. No, just kidding. I love it. Everyone's like, what? No, it's awesome. I am blessed to have Andy and John and Phil. But enough of those guys. To you, Andy, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Not too much. I'm doing really well. Kind of in the mood to dig into some music and see what you've got for me here. So let's do what we do.
I'm going to throw you because I think you're going to know the song.
Okay.
Because what was the band that got you to this channel?
Are you doing it?
What band?
Arctic Monkeys got me here.
Right. Absolutely. Should I give you this? What the hell? Yeah. Well, that's what I'm here for.
Just know that I've heard it, but I will.
I know, but there's no chance that you don't know the song. But I really, instead of giving it to the other guys, I really wanted to give it to you. I know you're a fan, and I really wanted a real fan's perspective on this. Although John right now is watching, saying, "I love Arctic Monkeys too. What the hell?" But
we're gonna have an Arctic Monkey off.
John, I'll throw you an Arctic Monkey song too, right? Just hang out, just chill. Here we go. Dancing Shoes.
Okay. This is probably my favorite album. This is off my favorite album by them, and maybe one of my favorite albums of all time. Like, it's a cover to cover, no stops, full throttle. Love the whole thing.
Try to pretend like you've never heard it. It's the first time going in. Just try your best.
Yeah, sure. I love this album cover. All right, let's go.
Get on your dancing shoes. There's one thing on your mind. Hoping they're looking for you. Sure, you'll be rummaging through. Oh, and the shit show, the horror. You've seen your future bride. Yeah, but it's so absurd for you to say the first word. So you're waiting and the only reason that you came to what you're scared for. Well, don't you always do the same? You swear you therefore don't you know the lights are flashing down in here tonight? And some might exchange a glance, but keep pretending to dance. But don't act like it's not happening, as if it's impolite to go and mention your name. Instead you'll just
I love the jangly guitar sounds that defined this album. It's just so fun and so hard to predict each note, as Alex or Jamie Cook run through them in the tracks, and this warrants taking it back a bit because I could listen to that sound forever.
Sexy little swine, hoping they're looking for you. Sure, you'll be rummaging through. And I said, the shit shock horror. You've seen your future bride, yeah. Yeah, but it's all so absurd for you to say the first word, so you're waiting and waiting.
Yeah, that's the biggest smile I've seen from you for any song that we've done so far. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, you're glowing.
Yep. That's why I just listened to Alex Turner spit amazing lyrics and write awesome music face. So
put on your dancing shoes. I mean, they
yes.
don't freaking mess around in the beginning, right?
No.
They bash the door open. Get on your dancing shoes.
Yeah. And the way he said, like the way, not only the choice of words, but the way he delivers, you sexy little swine. So ballsy, because like who would say that out loud to, let alone themselves? But
is he really saying that out loud, or he's kind of talking to himself, being like, he's seeing that girl on the dance floor, he wants to dance with her, he wants to take her out, he wants to maybe do some other things, but is he going to do all that, or is he just going to look and just and want and lust
and hope for the best,
and hope for the best, and then he winds up, going back home and playing PlayStation by himself or with someone, out in the world somewhere, until the next time,
like that. Yeah, but yeah,
not that I'm not speaking from experience. I'm just.
Yeah, I pegged you as more of an Xbox guy, Greg, not a PlayStation.
I was actually more Pong back in my day.
My.
Okay, back to the song. Oh my God. So go ahead. Take it. Go ahead.
I just think it's incredibly relatable. Even if you're not at that age, but had been at any point in your life, I just find it so relatable. Like you're amping yourself up all like from the moment those plans are made that you're going out, you know what I mean? And then you add to it like the extra, like you're in the mood to go meet somebody and have a thrilling evening or a one night stand. Like this isn't, let's be honest, this isn't the most romantic way of approaching things, but it's very real. Like we've all been young and single and looking for fun.
Yeah.
And I was around the same age as, I was still partaking in evenings like this when this album came out.
Right.
So when this album came out, it just spoke to me, but it was also, it wasn't as crass, or there's something clever about the way the song, it's an incredibly mature album about immature content. And that's what has always been the most profound thing to me about this band and about this album, that someone could be so poetic and mature and interesting in their approach to songwriting about topics that are going out on the town, having drinks, trying to meet a girl, playing in a band. All these things they're not mature things, but they're written about in a very mature fashion. And I found it so interesting and relatable. So yeah, and Dancing Shoes is definitely sort of that culmination of, all right, boys, we're going out in the town. I'm talking myself up. I'm going to meet a lady, and you see her, and the shit shock horror, as he says, you've seen your future bride. But you can't bring yourself to find a pair and go up and approach her. So you just for the best.
Which is really, and you tell me, because my interpretation of another song on this album, which is whatever people say I am, that's what I'm not. We love, Chris and I, just when we were getting into our first Arctic Monkey song, I had that album on my iPod for many, many years, so I kind of knew it. But it's just such an inventive, creative album name, right? And just much, it just makes you think about so much about just that title right there. But the two singles, right? I Bet You Look Good on a Dance Floor and When the Sun Goes Down. It's amazing how this song is not a single from the album. You know, to me, this one could have absolutely been released as a single and done well, I think, on its own. But the dance floor, I Bet You Look Good on a Dance Floor. My interpretation of that one, right, is that he actually chose basically not to, you know, he's seeing someone on the dance floor, you know, and dancing and stuff, but he's more inclined to hang out with his buddies, not because he's really scared, but because that's really what he really wants to really do. You know, he's in the pub, you know, his mates are around him and stuff like that. And that's the action. That for tonight, that's actually where he wants to be. I don't know if you interpret it like that.
Well, I think this song, more than any of the other similar tracks on this album, are in a position where he's the one who's more interested in finding a partner than some of the other ones he's like, you could probably see through the lights, but you were staring right through me, or whatever that song title is.
Yeah.
Another one where it's like this one, he's definitely more like, God, I really like to be able to do this, but he just can't bring himself. But it's oh so absurd for you to say the first word is a lyric for it. And the absurdity of having to find the right word to say to break the ice is sort of keeping him from moving forward with his initial desires, which is just funny because he spent more time invested in the thought of doing the thing than in the action of making the thing happen, right?
But it's so true. It's relatable to so many people out there. I mean, I'm sure me, you know, I mean, not that I was ever like Mr. Don Juan in the nightclubs. And I could just, I mean, some guys can just with the looks and everything, you know, just with the click of the fingers, or, you know, through the eyebrows or the hair, the weight, you know, whatever, you know, all of a sudden, you know, they're dancing on the floor with the girl, and then they're doing some other kind of dance after that dance. But I think we all can relate. Even those guys, sometimes they're in a slump, or that just doesn't, you know, not every girl is going to just drop and go, oh my God, you know. So the rejection, you know, and for Alex to actually write about this, you know, to something real and, like I said, relatable to so many, you know, it's being really vulnerable, you know, putting himself out there, you know, it's real, that's what's also appealing about the song too. And then the goddamn music. I said the word. I said it in this episode. I cursed. The music
warranted being said.
Oh my God, the
bass and the drums are like thunder in a valley. The way they start off.
That band could play. Now the bass play is different, right? The bass play on that album.
Yeah, the recorded version of this album features his name is Andy something, I think. Was the bass player, and then Nick O'Malley sort of became the touring bass player for this album at some point.
Yes, that's what I heard. Yeah, and he's good. He's good.
Yeah,
he's great.
He's great.
But I think, but still, there's a lot to be said about the bass playing. It was so innovative on this album. It was so on this song, and the band is just absolutely just exploding with just, I mean, oh my God. I mean, the
thing that's interesting about replacing,
yes.
The thing that's interesting about replacing the bass player is that their approach to what the bass does for each song didn't change in the next album or even subsequent albums.
Because they had a blueprint. That's so good.
Their sound, their sound didn't change despite a person playing one of four instruments. 25% of the music you would think would thus be influenced by that departure, but they really found the perfect person to sort of carry the mantle. When
exactly, like, here's the blueprint, you know, do you think you can like read this and follow? If not, and they got the perfect person and stuff like that.
Absolutely. But you're right, the lead in this song, like the lead guitar in this song, is just so, I think it's like a perfect snippet of what the guitar meant to this album, because the sound, the production, the tones, the writing, all of this, all of that, those parts of what the guitar was on this album are all they translate from one song to the next, to the point where like this album becomes like an homage to snaky, jangly, frenetic guitar work, and is sort of the pinnacle of that sound. Like I love the guitar on this album.
I think that's why, because we've done some reactions to other songs in later years, and they're a band that has evolved, right? Their music has evolved. Some people actually complain. I mean, fans are fans, so they're going to still stick with the band. But you read the comments and stuff, and even my own sort of reactions and stuff is that some of the songs have become, there's more of a slower type of, more filled in richness, whatever. It's they never got back to the sound. Now, do they have to get back to the sound? I mean, you almost like you break the mold and then you move on to something else and you create that.
I would say that this, and I still get glimpses of this kind of songwriting on Favorite Worst Nightmare, their sophomore album. And that they didn't diverge. I think their production level was just increased a little bit on that album, but the real turning point was Humbug. Like Humbug was their first of dark, different first time they used a different producer. The producer is Josh Homme of Queens of the Stone Age, who's American, and kind of introduced him to that Southwestern sludge desert rock type sound that they have. And so that idea of, and I think Alex said this in an interview once when they were talking about the creation of Humbug, which was Josh Homme taught the guys that it's never difficult, or it's far more easy to write a fast, heavier song than it is to write a slow song. That takes real talent. Yeah. Not to say that the other two albums are talent. I just said that whatever people say, I Am is one of my favorite albums of all time. But it did introduce this other thing where it's like, show this other skill you have, show this other talent. You haven't done that yet. And that's what kind of inspired the sound that we get from Humbug, which is a really minor key, darker, kind of grittier sound, and slower in a lot of places too. So yeah, that's kind of where they kind of spread their wings a little bit. I love all their albums. I just love them for different reasons.
Yeah.
Maybe in general, musically, my favorite versions of the Arctic Monkeys are their first two albums, because they're just it was such a breath of fresh air when this kind of music came out at the time that it did. Like the early 2000s was we've talked about it before, like the music scene needed to be reined in and needed to come back home to its roots. And this is very garagey and kind of lo-fi, not overproduced, not synthetic or plastic sounding. And you add to it Turner's amazing lyricism, which transcends. That's one part of their songwriting that transcends every album, is just the guy's so damn good with words. And the way he can fit a myriad of them into a small space is just always impresses me.
Well, we could talk forever about Arctic Monkeys. Dude, you've got to be right. You got to be thinking about Arctic Monkeys songs to give me. I mean, that's your wheelhouse.
No, I definitely, and I think I've selected more of their. I think if I'm going to give you one, it would be something that is not as popular, because
that's my wheelhouse.
Yeah, something different. So there's this a B-side from that album, Humbug, I believe, that I had mentioned, and the song is Frightline Dining Room, which is an interesting name.
Wow.
But a great song. The drums, the like just the freneticism of that tune, I think you'll dig if you liked kind of the unbridled crazy sounds that you get off some of the tracks on this album. Then I think you'd like it.
Thanks, Andy. You have a great rest of the day. This is fantastic.
Hey, you do the same, buddy.
And I really hope everyone out there really enjoyed this, through all the shenanigans and stupid stuff from me. Andy was amazingly serious and amazing as always. And we'll see you. I'm losing myself. We'll see every one of you on the next episode of Into the Music.